personally enjoy too much.
I don't blame you, but that's what the point of this is. So you could be able to get your feet wet, understand what's going on, and see what you want to research and do your own research on. DYOR. There's so much that's going on in this field. It's growing so fast. It's even hard for me to keep up. But the way that I like to really relate it to you in the sense that you'll understand. I'm sure you are aware of how old the internet is. Internet just turned 30 last year. Um, with the internet being 30, you can see the growth that we had from the first 10 years where barely anybody knew what the internet was to the second 10 years where we had this mainstream growth of adoption thanks to Facebook, Google, YouTube, all of those different companies. And then now we're on that third decade where everybody's used to it. It's just day to day life. It's nothing new anymore, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think the same thing is now happening with Bitcoin and blockchain. Bitcoin is just the first application, if you will. So imagine if you made the internet and on the same day you made the internet, you also made the first website.
Mm.
Bitcoin just happened to be like that quote unquote first website. It was the first protocol that was utilized on this new blockchain technology, but it's not the only one. There are thousands of different currencies. Some are private, some are public. Anybody can be able to view all of the different data on that blockchain. So, what is consistent of this data? Going back to my analogy with the internet, um, as we've seen over the last 30 years, the internet has been a driver for information. Anything you want to know, you go to the internet. Blockchain is a driver for value. Anything you want to measure value, understand what it's worth, the blockchain. So, like I said, with the example of Fortnite, have you ever played Fortnite or Apex Legends, any of those games?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that you can buy skins in the game for like 5, 10, 15, 20, $30.
Hmm.
Cool. You just spent all that fiat, but with that money, what does that really get you? I got a cool little digital skin, but can you do anything with it? And if Fortnite shuts down, do you still own it? Do you still have it? Right? No, right? It's gone. So with blockchain games, you own the assets. If you buy a skin, it's your skin. So even if the game shuts down, you still own the skin. Other games allow assets to be used across platform. So imagine, quote unquote, if you were able to buy a skin in Fortnite and then also carry that skin over to Apex with you.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It becomes like a
So we're built
fungible object or something that you can carry over.
exactly. And the blockchain just allows you to measure the value of it based on how many people own the exact same one. If there's only one, it's what you value it as because there's only one. So whatever you set the price of it is as that's what the price of it is. So if I make a what we call an NFT, it's like a specific, unique digital item and I give it to you, now it's worth nothing because I didn't charge you for it. But then if you decide to sell it to Shoshoki for $10, that item is worth $10. If you sell it for $1,000, it's worth $1,000 because there's only one. Whereas if you have thousands or millions of them, there's specific calculations that are done to value the overall volume of all of the different currencies or of all of the different coins that exist. So with Bitcoin, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Let me relate it to something again that you're used to, dollars. How many dollars will there ever be?
Yeah, I don't know, but a lot.
That's because nobody knows. They can make up as many as they want whenever they want.
Yeah.
Can't do that with Bitcoin.
Mm.
How much gold is there that will ever be?
Yeah.
Don't know. you could think that there's not going to be any more gold because we ran out and there's no more new gold. But then you go somewhere else or go to space and go mine asteroid mining and find more gold. Now you've just changed the whole market where people thought that we were running out of gold. Now there's a whole abundance of gold. It's how aluminum used to be. How much is aluminum now? 5 cents per sheet? Whereas back in the early 1900s, aluminum was the scarcest metal of all. You could not find
Yep.
aluminum, so it would cost millions of dollars to have aluminum until they figured out how to make it better. Now it's so abundant that you can get aluminum for cheap. Get you that real understanding of things that we value today. If there's an abundance of them, it can go down in price really, really fast. Just like all of the technology I'm sure you're used to. Your phone used to cost thousands of dollars. Now you can get them for hundreds of dollars, so on and so forth. Value is changing all the time. With Bitcoin, the value is always going to be at 21 million coins divided by the last price, I think, bought and sold.
The quantity is finite. The
Yes, the
quantity
quantity
of
is
Bitcoin.
not going to change. In order for them to change it, you need a majority vote of all of the engineers, which I don't see that happening.
Well, not just that, but
Okay.
also the
So
fact that because there's not going to be any, say, lost wallets or any, micro Bitcoin that's, in
yeah.
the, mix of transactions or gas fees is never going to be able to, like, get back into circulation. So if you have, if someone back in, 2009 mined 200 Bitcoin and then, threw away the computer or whatever and lost it all, which has definitely happened, then,
Gone
all
forever.
those Bitcoins are out of circulation and, nobody's going to be able to mine them anymore and nobody's going to be able to buy or sell them. So that lowers the amount of total Bitcoin and then continues to help raise the price. So, it's a much better system than fiat, in my personal opinion, at least the U.S. dollar in, a lot of those ways.
Yeah. So that's a great way to compare this technology to money. But as we described with the Fortnite example, it can be used for value in assets for games. I've also seen companies that are like shipping companies that, let's say, you have a product that's, let's say, a carrot. You're a farmer and you grow these different plants and then you sell them to stores that customers go and buy them from. That's a lot of middlemen, from the farmer to the shipper to the warehouse to the retail, to the next shipper to the retail store to then you finally picking up the item in the store. There's a lot of hands that exchanged. What if we can keep track of all of those hands as well as shrink the amount of people that get to touch the carrots that you buy?
I mean,
So that's what we can do.
the
Yep, the
logistics of
logistics.
distribution are not necessarily at fault. I mean, if it does take five, stops to get from the farmer to your local store because you're disabled and that's as far as you can go, literally the store around the corner, then that's what it takes. But I mean, certainly
Well,
having
now
being
we
able to
have
track it.
this technology where, as a farmer, I can just go from my hands directly to, let's say, Uber Eats and
Yeah.
or some shipping company that'll immediately take it right from my farm directly to your house if you're local, and or directly to the store that's local. So it's going to really localize farming as well as globalize it because it makes it so much easier for a farmer to directly deal with China than or some other country that wants to buy this farmer's crops than if you were to deal with all of these other companies that are in the way and now you have to pay them to ship your products over to China or these other countries.
But I mean, Uber Eats or whoever it is, like they're still fulfilling the same role that those other smaller companies are doing. There's no
Yes,
difference
just
between
less
using it.
hands to transfer through.
Sure. Maybe it really depends. Like I'm sure Uber Eats would love to have all of that. They would love to have a complete monopoly on that part on that value chain. Or that's that part of the value chain. I mean, that's what every wholesaler is trying to do. Every wholesaler is trying to get access to the original source and then have a complete chain all the way to get to as close to the customer as possible because then they get that markup. So, for example, if they're buying
Mm-hmm.
items at 50p and they're able to skip and be the entire pipeline. By the time it gets delivered to your house, they can charge £2, and the
Like
other
Tesla.
$2. Exactly, and then yeah, absolutely. But it's a damn sight harder to run that sort of business. Like not every company is Tesla, so and
And that's
pharma
why
doesn't necessarily want to be doing
That's
that.
why I'm excited for this technology because, yes, Tesla did a great job doing that without a blockchain. But with the blockchain now, it allows you to be able to keep track of each transaction from the farmer to the shipper, from the shipper to the customer and or the next shipper or whichever part of the path. And everybody gets to see what happened on that ledger
Do you
to
think is that ledger public,
transactions.
by the way? Is that
It depends on the company you're dealing with. If you want to make it public, you can. If you want to make it private, you can.
okay? The only reason I say that is most businesses, I'm going to say like 99% of businesses, operate on a strictly need to know basis, considering the
Yep.
internals of their business. So they're not going to
Yep.
want to share how many carrots are going to who, because that's going to give their competition a heads up of, oh, those people are buying cats. Well, if they're buying cats from that guy, maybe they'll buy cats from us. So they'll go
Yep,
and they'll
there's all
pester.
sorts of ways that you can be able to make it private, whether it's per IP address, per unlisted link, all sorts of ways that you can be able to have that data set, that ledger access, and be able to share it with your team privately.
I think that's important.
Absolutely. So yeah,
I
man,
see the
this technology
downside
is
of
gonna
that though
grow
too.
and be a. I'm sorry.
Sorry?
I see the downside of that too, though. Remaining anonymous if you're doing things like working on a core network, doing things on the dark web and exchanging products using it. You can also, secretly buy and sell some unsavory things and remain anonymous, which I mean is the whole point of those kinds of networks. But
I wouldn't say
I
that's
see
the
the
point of it,
yeah,
but
I
yes, that is a big use case for it. With every technology, it's going to be a double-edged sword. Autonomous cars,
yeah,
great for people that can't drive, bad for people that are dumb and will walk out in the middle of the street and not look both ways, like the lady in Arizona that got hit by a driverless car. Ain't nobody told you to
Yeah.
cross the highway,
exactly.
walking the street, not even the street, walking the highway in the
Yeah.
middle of the night and got hit by an autonomous car. That's not on the
But she
autonomous
would have
car.
been hit by a guy anyway. She would have been.
Yeah,
She
whether
would
it
have
was
been.
a human driver or an autonomous car, she
Yeah.
still would have got hit.
Yeah.
So, it's a double-edged sword. It's not going to be absolutely perfect. Yes, you're going to have, bad actors, but that's why we have law enforcement to be able to, investigate and find ways to be able to prevent that and work with developers rather than just outright banning it.
I mean, it's not like there's not terrible things done with cash, and nobody's
Yep.
banned cash yet, although they are
Most
trying.
cash has cocaine on it.
There you go. There you go.
Most US dollars, if you pick it up and you look for a trace of cocaine, you most likely can find a trace of cocaine on any US dollar bill that you have in your pocket.
Yeah.
Someone
Those are
else had it
tasty.
before you and they were using it for drugs.
Yeah. So always wash your hands.
Absolutely. Yeah, so to me it's only a matter of time. The first decade is over. Bitcoin's now 11 years old. We're in the second decade. This is the growth time where more people are going to hear about this technology, and we're going to start to see the Googles and the Amazons and the likes coming from this industry. I already think we have a few companies that are growing really fast and doing some amazing things. And then yeah, it's just a matter of time before we're in that next decade and everybody's already using the blockchain. I think it's going to even go by faster because we have the internet now compared to when we were sharing the internet. Not everybody had the internet, so it took a lot longer for things to grow.
Can I ask something? Do you think it's helpful to when there's a particular word that I was going to pick up on you there was you said the blockchain. Well, blockchain is a type of technology which can be used for lots and lots and lots of different things. It sort of implies that there's only one. If you say the blockchain, Like
I get what you mean
there's
by that.
hundreds,
I
right?
don't mean that there's only one, which is why I say there's public and private. It's just the technology is the blockchain. Just like the internet is the technology. That doesn't mean that
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
just one internet. There's
True.
multiple different internets. It's just people understand and relate to, oh, well, if I want to know something, I have to go on the internet.
The internet, yeah, yeah. But there is only one internet, though. I mean, really, it's all connected, so it's just one,
It's
right?
all
Whereas
connected. Yeah.
the blockchains are not connected to each other. For example, they're used for completely different things and all sorts of different, um, reasons. So, you know,
They're all different protocols, I'm not gonna disagree with that. Yeah, they're definitely all different protocols, all separate. They're not in any way interconnected. But the same thing with like the internet. I wouldn't say that the internet is all interconnected. The deep web, there's the deep web, there's the dark web, and then there's the top surface is what you already access. So there's a
Okay.
lot of things that you can't see on the deep web that isn't really connected to the internet. You have to have special access to get there. So yeah, in a sense,
sure.
there are three different type of internets. Not to mention the ARPANET if you're talking about the government still.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
yeah, there are four
So,
different internets.
are you saying that nothing is really transferable between different types of blockchain, or how does that work?
No, I
When you
would
say
say
there's
that
multiple,
depending on how you enabled it with your platform, yes, it is interoperable where I can make my CryptoKitty came out in 2017, just like a little picture cat. Then they turn it into a game later on. Now they're making a cryptoverse or crypto kittyverse. Kittyverse, I think, is the name of it. So they've built onto that over time. But also, they've opened it up to other games to allow you to take those crypto kitties that you purchase from, Ethereum and on their platform and take it to other games. What was that card game? Ether Legends, I think, is the one that allows you to upload your crypto kitties and you can be able to
No,
use
that
your
was
crypto
my
kitty.
Ethereum.
My Ethereum, I'm sorry, not Ether Legends. My Ethereum lets you upload your CryptoKitty. I know Somnium Space is a game that'll allow you to upload your CryptoKitty into Somnium Space, and you can have your CryptoKitty follow you around like Pikachu in Pokemon. Um, there's all sorts of games that are allowing you to have access to the different assets that you have in other games.
Mhm. So they're making it
So,
more cross-platform, it sounds like.
yep, it's all about what developers are allowing their assets to be cross-platform. If you want to make it so that way your sword is only accessible in your game, you as the developer have the right to make it only your game accessible. But if you want to make a gun that can be cross-platform for other games, you of course can. Obviously, it makes sense to do that because then more people will find out about your platform, what your thing is. I've never seen this gun before. Where'd you get that? Such and such game.
Mhm. So you were saying earlier about how quantity can increase or decrease the value of an object. What about demand? How does that get incorporated in the value system?
Volume, being
Like,
able to
hey, there's a
track.
bunch of these, but they're really popular, so the demand obviously
Absolutely.
increases.
So if you buy something and nobody else is buying it, the next person that's going to do something, are they going to buy more, or is it a possibility that since nobody else is buying this, that they might sell? And if they
Right.
sold, yeah, I was just about to kick them out. He beat me to it.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, random deals. There's all sorts of trolls on here. Somebody was asking me yesterday what would be the percentage of trolls on Altspace. I was like, honestly, I would say it's less than 40% compared to like
Yeah,
if you look at other games like VR chat, that's pretty much
yeah,
80% trolls.
yeah.
But continuing on, demand, yeah, of course there has to be a demand for your product. Otherwise, the people that invested into it are not going to want to invest into it anymore if nobody's buying it. A whole year went by and nobody bought it. Chances are the people that are still holding on to it with a profit are going to start selling.
Mhm.
I don't know if you got to see, but if you go upstairs, we have a whole museum so you can understand a little bit more. I'm in the process of building a new world that's going to be compatible for the Quest. and I will build the museum into that one. Whereas, like, if you go upstairs now, it's just basically a bunch of walls with pictures on them. The next one we're literally trying to build, like, it's gonna take a while, but for now, it's I just want to have an event space where we can meet in VR, and is not this one. This one was built for PC way earlier. We used it since last year. Time to retire this world. We've been saying it for a couple weeks now, but definitely working on that today.
It's so
Is there
buggy
any,
now.
you said it's buggy? Yeah, it's pretty buggy in here.
Yeah,
So trying to make a brand new one that's specifically designed for the Quest.
yeah. Like you can almost walk into the wall here.
Do you build in Altspace or do you use other programs like Unity?
Unity.
He's using Entity.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'll go check out upstairs.
Well, before you go, let me also mention one more thing. Blockchain Universe is, in case you don't come back down or anything, we're doing just meetup space to talk about blockchain, but also blockchain games, because I think that we think that that's the best way that people are going to understand this technology is to gamify it and play with the games. Um, I don't know if you have ever tried streaming, but we're creating a stream team. I want to get more people playing not just blockchain games, but regular games like Apex Legends, whatever games you're into, mobile games. I got Google Stadia. I'll be playing Google Stadia on here. I just want to get a team of streamers together. So if that's something that interests you, shoot me a message. Let's stay in contact, and I'll get you on a stream together soon. All right.
All right, sounds great. Thanks.
Enjoy the museum, buddy.
Cool.
Did you do a live stream? I should have did a live stream. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, it's going live right now.
All right, when we
Yeah.
get the new world, I'll make sure I start live streaming it.
Yeah, I definitely feel you there. And then I think, even though there's probably no one listening, since the stream is going, and I know I have at least one person in there, I think I'll just like read through the blockchain gaming news that we had uploaded on Crypto and
Please
Gamers the
go
other day.
for it. Yep.
Yeah, so I know one of the first things, Axie Infinity, that I was kind of talking about, they have their new Blood Moon Rising update, which added a whole bunch of content to the game that completely changed the actual combat system. Now they actually have like cards for your moves, so instead of just clicking send to battle and then your team goes and automatically attacks and whatever, you actually have different cards that show up every turn for each different Axie that you have. Some give you a shield, some take health from your enemy, some put them to sleep, that sort of thing, and then you choose which card attacks you want to do that turn, and then it's like an actual strategy game as opposed to just an automatic send to battle game, which most crypto games are nowadays. They also added an actual story mode, so you can go and do regular levels against AI monsters and replay and level up your axes and get. They have like these health or not health potions, like love potions, kind of like blockchain cuties for breeding, as opposed to just getting experience and then spending those experience points on breeding. It is also on iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. So before it was mostly on like a DApp browser. If you had like Trust Wallet or DApp Radar or whatever that had access to playing them, is you do it through the browser, but now it's actually got an official download. So that just came out like 2 weeks ago. Very excited about that. I've been playing it a decent bit, not as much as I'd like to, but I've been leveling up a few of my Axies a bit and getting through the content, and I've been enjoying it much more than how they've previously had it. They're still working on Lunacia, but I don't know when that's officially going to launch. However, with this update at least coming out, that's showing some progress, which I'm very excited about. Chibi Fighters 2.0 was also released.
Sorry, before you go to the
Yeah.
next game, can I ask you? You mentioned something called the DApp browser?
Yeah, so that's mostly for like mobile. If you have like iOS or Android or whatever, they have these apps like Trust Wallet is the one that I primarily use. Otherwise, let me see if I can find the other one that I
Not heard
had.
of that
They
before.
also
Yeah,
have
they have
web-based
them.
one. I use Brave all the time.
Yeah, Brave for like if you're actually just using like a computer or whatever, MetaMask or the download extensions, as well as Brave just added it. However, I've had so many issues with Brave trying to get that set up that I stick with MetaMask. So yeah, but really that's just it's essentially like a wallet as well as access to dApps for at least like these app
Okay.
versions where you go in, you sign in, you put in, your private key or whatever, you log into your wallet so that way you have all your, your crypto. It shows you your assets, your tokens, all that sort of thing. And then you can go to the main browser, and instead of, being like Google or whatever where you go and, on web pages, it's specifically for looking up decentralized applications. So it'll give you a list of like games or exchanges or different DApp categories that you can choose from, or you can just go on, DApp Radar, State of the DApps, any DApp listing, website, and choose which
I've
one you want to
literally
play.
never heard of this.
Yeah,
This is really
they've been around for a couple of years now. Very popular for most mobile. Normally, what'll happen is like a DApp will release like Axie Infinity. It'll be available to play on browser or on mobile through one of these apps, these wallet apps, and then later on, as it develops, they'll actually have their own official download, like My Crypto Heroes, Axie Infinity
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
where you can just straight up download the game itself as opposed to just accessing it on the browser. However, the browser will allow you to play most of these games.
So before, because I think I've got MetaMask installed on my in Firefox. So before you were doing all the stuff in MetaMask, but there are alternatives to them, and a lot of these apps, you're saying that they basically write an app wrapper around it and then run it directly on the iOS device, for example. But internally, they're still getting access to the same DApp.
I'm not sure exactly how it works. I know they just released an official like MetaMask app for accessing the wallet. I know that like Trust Wallet and most of these, really it's the like MetaMask or any of these like wallets extensions is just a way to access the wallet. So like when you install MetaMask and you create the wallet, all that's doing is creating an Ethereum wallet for you that you can access on MetaMask. So you can take that same, private key or whatever, go on Trust Wallet and sign in, or on Engine and sign in on that exact same wallet that it's not through specifically MetaMask, and it's still going to have your crypto, your assets, all of that. It's really just like the platform that you're accessing the wallet through that they're creating and coming up with. Like, so I'm not a specific DApp developer or like wallet developer or whatever, so I don't know the full internals, but it is very easy for going on and going to an exchange and then being able to transfer or buy or sell crypto straight through the wallet through the app. Or
If I developed a DApp, then I would try and say, oh, you can use this through MetaMask or through one of these DApp browsers.
Well, they'll already be, so for any of these games or whatever, you make it you make the DApp, you publish it to the blockchain, and when these wallets, Trust Wallet or MetaMask or whatever, give you access to the blockchain. So that browser, as long as the browser, I don't know specifically if it's using Flash or whatever form of I know a lot of them use Flash just for like loading the animations and the graphics and the actual like browser page itself, and then the background, it's running through the wallet that is set up on the app, whether it be Trust or MetaMask or whatever. So it's you put it in like any regular browser, but it's instead of going on YouTube or going on any non-DApp website, it's specifically for ones that have been published to the blockchain. So like I said, I don't know exactly how that works.
Has anyone done like an extension? Well, because obviously you guys have talked about like you doing streaming and stuff. So has anybody done like a bot integration with like a DApp with a stream? So for example, you're on your whatever it's D Live or you're on your Twitch, and then you send some commands through chat, for example, and it triggers something within the DApp. Or triggers, is that something that exists?
Not that I'm aware of.
I've seen that. You gave me an idea now.
I think DLive would be the closest thing. I don't know if it has anything available for that, but just because DLive is on the blockchain and you can, earn tokens and whatnot through it. However, DLive has its own Lino wallet, which is like an external wallet for the site where you transfer the crypto to and from. So I don't think it's the actual site itself that's giving you access to the blockchain or any of the dApps. It's through the wallet extension.
Have to use, like,
that's a good question.
MetaMask installed, and then you do something through this particular DApp, and because in the back end it's hooked into your live stream, that would then trigger something on the live stream or something like that. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds reasonable. I'm sure it's possible for, developing it. I know, like when you're tipping or whatever on, D Live or Twitch, they have, when you're
Yeah,
setting
we're
up the
using their
stream,
system, right?
you have, these tokens, and then, it's I'll tip you, however many 10 tokens or whatever, and then there will be, an animated pop-up on the screen, on the live screen or whatever, that
Yeah.
says thank you whoever for, donating, or maybe it'll, trigger some sort of event. But I don't know if they have an ability to trigger some sort of event through a blockchain. I think that, or through a DApp. I think that specific DApp would have to be integrated with whatever platform that you're trying to do that with,
Yeah.
and then not only that, but
Very
I
interesting.
think that, I don't know if how that would work between like on and off blockchain, because if it's on blockchain and you're, sending it like on Ethereum, for example, there would still probably be a gas fee that you would have to pay for, like, causing one of those
Yeah.
interactions or something. So nothing like that exists that I'm aware of, where they're, charging gas fees for an on blockchain transaction to do something between a streaming or outside external website and a DApp. But that's definitely something that someone's probably working on at the moment, and we may have some sort of.
Because that would give you the ability to then, through a DApp browser or through whatever is on the phone, to send money, or whatever, ether, or to trigger something and not have anything else installed, and to see a live update on the stream. Would that make sense? Like, you wouldn't have to go through Twitch. You wouldn't have to go through PayPal. You'd literally just trigger it directly through whatever, MetaMask.
Well, the main issue right now is that when you're like buying or selling or doing any sort of trading, you have to have the specific wallet address that you're transferring to, and that's mostly, like a copy or paste, or, have to manually enter it in. So I don't know if they have any ways to like automatically put in the transfer wallet that it would like go to. Like if you were to say, if you were like on that DApp browser, watching a D Live stream or whatever, and you were trying to, tip it from there, I don't know if they'd be able to like go and tip it, and then, since you're on that page, it would automatically, put in that.
I'm not just sending. I'm not talking about the transferring of ether. I'm sure that exists. I meant the actual, just the smart contract. You trigger a smart contract from within MetaMask, and it just triggers something directly within the stream. So it's almost like a remote control. You have a DApp, and it's just on the blockchain. So you're just triggering stuff, and then in the background of the stream, you're just automatically, because the two are integrated, and so it doesn't matter what app you're using. You could be on your phone, you could be in your browser with MetaMask. It doesn't matter. You could just trigger something, and then in the stream, bang, something is happening because you triggered it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's something I guess we'll have to look into and see if anybody's made any progress on it. But as far as I'm aware, nothing like that exists at the moment. However, progress is, coming along quite well over the past few years, so I wouldn't be surprised to.
Like if you were to do like a voting system, and you were like, vote for something on screen now, and it's like, doesn't matter, however you do it, your normal thing. If you're using MetaMask, then use MetaMask. If you're using this, then use this. It doesn't matter. There's a million ways, and they're all secure, and they're all very well. They're all pretty cheap, right? They're all very cheap.
Yeah, I think that's more of when, mass adoption kicks in, because I know there's already like voting dApps and that sort of thing, but that's all, on blockchain and not through any external site or whatever. So I don't know how they would specifically get that to work.
But in the background, you can still trigger stuff, right? You can
I don't know. I
the...
wouldn't know how that would work. I'd have to be a developer and know what they're doing on that end to be able to answer that question with any sort of certainty.
Oh, right.
All right. But besides that, as far as the crypto gaming news, as I was saying, Chibi Fighters just released their 2.0 last month. which was for before anyone that like knows that game or whatnot. It was, you had these little animated chibis, kind of like crypto kitties. You would send them out on an adventure. They would bring back coins and items, equipment that you would upgrade and equip to your chibi, make them more powerful, and send them back out. You can do battles and that sort of thing. They had a bunch of issues, and now they have a new digital trading card game, which we've been seeing so many of those in the crypto space coming up. However, this one seems to be doing decently well for, a brand new release. Right now it's about $5 a pack. Not sure exactly how many cards you get in a pack. However, I believe the game is live for if you have a deck and someone to actually battle against. You can go and, start fighting against them. You do get items, I believe, to equip to your cards to make them more powerful, as well as gaining dividends and other rewards. I think they have like a weekly tournament prize pool or something like that for the high ranked players, and it's one that they really just want to keep working on the game itself for the community that invested so much in the original Chibi Fighters, that when everything kind of went up in smoke, they really wanted to keep the project and community alive. So I'm glad it's live, and that they've been working so hard on it and making so much progress. And I haven't personally played it yet, but I definitely plan on checking it out in the next week or so, and making a review and letting everyone know how it is. So that's one to keep a lookout for. As we were talking about earlier, Somnium Space, Alt Space, Decentraland, I know Jerome is well aware of this, has their launch on the 20th, I believe, of February. I know I checked out I think it was the open beta a month or two ago and made a video on it. It was pretty interesting. I don't know, it reminded me a lot of Somnium Space after checking that one out, when you're walking through like one person's world to another person's, instead of like Alt Space where you have to load into each individual. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff they're working on it. I know on their Twitter they're showing so much like creation and like cities and worlds and all these different designs that people are putting into it. I don't know how many like shops or activities or whatnot that they're gonna have upon launch, but I'm definitely excited to see how the world looks, and hopefully I don't need to spend like $40 or whatever on an avatar to check it out once it launches, because I haven't bought one yet because I don't have enough mana, because it's kind of a little too expensive for my taste, at least just to get an avatar to keep waiting to access the game for. So I'm holding off on that. Hopefully it comes out well, but they have been in development for a good few years, and very little news up until the past few months with this new release. So hopefully that all works out well, and hopefully I can start using it and people can start going on and buying and selling and making money in some sort of digital world. And then obviously Somnium Space. Yeah, it's getting there, less than 2 weeks from now.
Somnium Space version 2, I'm sure you're going to talk about in a second, but we got Chibi Angel here. You were just talking about Chibi Fighters. Chibi Angel, have you heard of Chibi Fighters? Do you talk?
I wouldn't assume so. Chibi is a very diverse term in most things. Yeah. It's a cool game, though. Definitely one that I would recommend checking out. A little bit on engine platform games. Space Misfits as well as Dissolution are both two kind of space games. Dissolution's a first-person shooter that just added in some sort of space combat. Not officially to the game, but they have been developing on the actual flight combat. They have some videos and some screenshots on their Twitter that looks absolutely amazing. The combat looks great. They already have a zombies mode, as well as all the assault and drone AI fights and all the regular matches that they have with the FPS mode, which just is amazing, the amount of content that they're bringing to that game, especially for one that's free to play and already available on Steam. So I'm very excited to see those updates coming in.
Integrated with the blockchain. I have it on my computer, but I have not played it yet.
As far as I'm aware, you get there's some sort of engine integration with it, for like the skins or whatever, like NFT tokens, just like Forgotten Artifacts or any other engine title, where you go on, you click link engine account, and you put in your wallet address or whatever. But they do also have in-game tokens that you earn from matches, from whatever games, zombie modes, depending on how many kills you get. which then you can spend on their in-game shop for skins and other non-fungible tokens that will then get added to the wallet. I don't know how many of those are live yet. I do know that they have a few non-fungible token skins that they've already given out and have access to in the game. But it's still a work in progress. It's still in alpha as far as I'm aware, but it's playable. They're working on it a lot, bringing a lot of content to it. And as far as actual, crypto games that are playable with content available, it's definitely one of the ones with the most content by far. And then, as I was saying, Space Misfits, they also have a few playable demos at the moment, like a space exploration and a few missions and whatnot to go and check out. So, you can start dipping your toes in some of these crypto games and seeing what the content is looking like, and how much longer you have to wait for some of those AAA titles to come about. Spells of Genesis, another crypto trading card game. They have a pre-sale of some of their new packs coming this month. I think it might have started already. I know it said starting in the middle of February, so any day now. And Null Legends, one that I have been warning people to be wary of, has apparently just got, I think, like 2,800 plus new users in their, I don't know if it's their Telegram or their community or whatnot. The game's not out yet, as far as I'm aware. However, they have their Null Exchange out, which is like a a specific in-game exchange for their own token, which is, part of why, I'm saying stay very weary of them, because that's just, it screams scam to me. But I don't know, a lot of people think they're quite legit, and I've talked to the developer a bit, and he seems like he's trying to be legit with it, but who knows? That's another one I guess we'll have to, wait for. But besides that, that's about it for major crypto game updates this week. Jerome, I don't know if you got any final things or notes or whatever you want to bring up. I know we've been doing our crypto podcast. It's been going decently well every Tuesday. 7 to 9 Central Standard Time is when we have it planned. And normally we start like a half hour after that, just, getting ready. Jerome, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit before we head off.
Yeah, no, you mentioned most of it. Just we get together there and talk about blockchain games, not just blockchain though, anything that's going on in the industry and technology, and just getting people together to understand what's happening in this ever expanding world. If that's something that grabs your interest, you want to ask questions, you want to jump on the podcast, come on down every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Also, aside from that one, on Fridays, I host a rehashed podcast with Ken Bozak, Young Dumb Crypto, and Rice Crypto. That's every Friday, and we've been also putting that in Altspace, so you can also tune into that from Altspace on Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Maybe I'll be able to jump in one of these weeks right when I get off of work. We'll have to see what my schedule is looking like.
Definitely.
Do you
So-
upload your episodes onto SoundCloud?
We haven't yet, as far as I'm aware.
No. As of right now, it's mainly just been YouTube, but definitely
Okay.
gonna start putting it all into all platforms with Anchor FM as well as Restream.
Cool.
All right, but I got to get going to work. I got to, leave in the next 20 minutes or so. So, thank you again, Shiseki, for coming in this week. Love having you as always. Hope to, see you
very
next
much.
week or at one of our next events. Hopefully, now that we're getting these live streams published and everything, we can hopefully start getting a few more users. I know I got an email about getting in on a spotlight event for these events. I'll message you about that soon, Jerome. And let's keep this going, and see you all next week. So take it easy, everyone.